Commander Alan Reeves stood tall on the bridge of the Earthship Endeavour. His blue uniform was clean and his face showed no fear. Through the large window, he could see the strange alien ship. It was 3 times bigger than the Endeavour and shaped like a giant oval. The outside was dark green with lights that blinked in patterns. "Sir, they're sending another message," said Lisa Chen, the communications officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen. Alan nodded. "Put it on the main screen." The screen lit up, showing the alien they had been talking to for the past hour. It looked like a big insect with 6 thin arms and 2 large eyes that seemed to be made of many smaller eyes. Its skin was hard and shiny like armor. "I am Ambassador Zextil of the Galactic Confederation," the alien said. The words came through the translation computer. Its mouth parts moved in strange ways as it talked. "We wish to continue our discussion about your world." "Of course," Alan said with a friendly smile. "What would you like to know?" The alien moved, closer to its camera. "Your planet, Earth? You said your people have lived there for all your history? No terraforming or adjustments to make it livable?" Alan laughed. "No. Earth is our original home. We evolved there over millions of years." The alien made a clicking noise. The translator didn't change this sound, so Alan guessed it might be something like a cough or a sign of surprise. "And you call it Earth? Not some name that means harsh place or challenge world in your language?" "Just Earth," Alan said. "Or Terra sometimes. It means dirt or ground in an old human language." The alien's body seemed to stiffen. "Please describe the basic facts about your world. Gravity strength, atmospheric makeup, temperature ranges, common weather events." Lisa looked at Alan with raised eyebrows. This was basic information they could easily check themselves. "Why ask?" Alan shrugged slightly and answered. "Earth has gravity at 9.8 meters per second squared. The air is mostly nitrogen at 78% and oxygen at 21%, with small amounts of other gases. Temperatures range from about -50 degrees Celsius at the poles to +50 degrees in the hottest deserts, but most places stay between 0 and 40 degrees. Weather includes rain, snow, wind, sometimes hurricanes or tornadoes in certain areas." The alien was silent for several seconds. Then it turned and spoke quickly to someone off-screen in its own language. "Is something wrong?" Alan asked. Ambassador Zextil turned back to the screen. "No, but this is unexpected. Your numbers suggest you come from what we classify as a death world." "A what?" Alan asked. "A death world. A planet with conditions so extreme that most intelligent life could not evolve or survive there without special technology." The alien's voice sounded different, now more careful. "The gravity you describe would crush most Confederation species. The oxygen level would be like breathing corrosive gas to us. The temperature swings would kill many of our people in minutes." The bridge grew quiet as everyone listened. "But it's just normal to us," said Jake Foster, the ship's doctor. He had joined them on the bridge for the first contact. "Are you saying most alien worlds are very different?" "Yes," Zextil said. "Most intelligent species evolve on worlds with much gentler conditions. Lower gravity, less extreme weather, more stable environments, and much less oxygen." Alan thought about this. "So we're the weird ones." "You are unusual," the alien agreed. "We have encountered other Death World species before. They tend to be physically strong but limited in their development because survival takes so much of their energy. Yet you achieve space travel," another alien voice said from off-screen. A new alien moved into view. This one looked different. It had a rounded body with what looked like fur and 4 eyes in a row. "I am Science Director Maul," the new alien said. "If you truly evolved on a world with those conditions and reached space, you must be remarkably adaptable." Alan smiled. "We've always been good at solving problems. Your Confederation sounds fascinating. We've dreamed of meeting other intelligent life for centuries." Zextil and Maul looked at each other. "We would like to send a delegation to visit your Earth," Zextil said, "to learn more about your species and your world." "That would be wonderful," Alan said. "I'll need to contact our leaders, but I'm sure they'll agree." We could learn so much from each other. Yes, Maul said, but her voice sounded worried. There is much to learn. After the call ended, Lisa turned to Alan. Did that seem strange to you? The way they reacted to basic facts about Earth? Very strange, Alan agreed. It's like they think we live in some kind of hell. Jake laughed. Maybe to them we do. Think about it. If they evolved on low-gravity worlds with low oxygen, Earth would be a nightmare. It would be like us trying to live on a planet with twice our gravity and air that burns our lungs. They called us Deathworlders, Alan said quietly. I wonder what that really means for our place in the galaxy. The next day, Alan met with his senior officers. They sat around the meeting table discussing the upcoming visit from the Confederation. They're sending 5 different species, Alan explained, each from a different kind of world. They seem very interested in how we survive on Earth. I've been doing some research based on the data they shared, Jake said. He showed a chart on the screen. If their information is right, most intelligent species in the Confederation evolved on worlds with gravity between 0.3 and 0.7 of Earth normal, oxygen levels below 10%, much less temperature variation than Earth has, no extreme weather, fewer large predators. So we're the tough guys of the galaxy? Asked Ben Wright, the security chief. He was a large man with a loud laugh. That's kinda cool. Maybe, Alan said, but we shouldn't get overconfident. They've been in space for thousands of years while we're just getting started. Still, Lisa said, it makes you think. All our history, all our struggles to survive might have made us stronger than we realized. A message chimed on Alan's screen. The Earth Council has approved the Confederation visit. They'll arrive in 2 weeks. We're being ordered home to help prepare. As the Endeavour changed course for Earth, Alan looked at the stars through the window. He had always thought of humans as just average, not the strongest or smartest beings possible. But now he wondered if that was wrong. Maybe the very world that had challenged humans throughout their evolution had made them special in ways they never understood. Deathworlders, he said to himself. The word sounded harsh, but maybe it was really a badge of honor. The aliens would soon see what humans were truly made of. The Endeavour's engines hummed as it accelerated toward home, carrying news that would forever change humanity's view of itself in the universe. Dr. Samantha Wells checked her tablet one more time. Everything had to be perfect for the alien delegation arriving today. As head of Earth's Welcome Committee, she had spent 2 weeks preparing the International Spaceport in Colorado for their special needs. How's the environmental chamber looking? She asked her assistant, Paul Rivera. All set, Paul said. We've lowered the oxygen to 10%, reduced gravity to 0.5 Earth normal, and set temperature to a steady 22 degrees Celsius with no variations. Good. And the backup systems? Triple checked. If anything fails, the backups kick in instantly. Samantha nodded. The aliens had been very clear about their requirements. What seemed like normal conditions to humans would be dangerous or even deadly to most of them. Captain Gary Monroe walked up, his military uniform crisp and his expression serious. As the security officer for the visit, he looked at everything as a potential threat. Any word from the ship? He asked. They entered orbit 20 minutes ago, Samantha said. Their shuttle will land in about half an hour. Gary frowned. I still think we're being too accommodating. We know almost nothing about these aliens or this confederation. They're our first contact with intelligent life, Samantha reminded him. We need to make a good impression. I understand that, but they're the ones who called us Deathworlders. Doesn't that make you wonder what they really think of us? Before Samantha could answer, her tablet beeped. They're ahead of schedule. The shuttle is beginning descent now. They hurried to the landing area. A group of scientists, military personnel, and government officials waited behind a safety line. Everyone wore their best clothes and nervous expressions. The alien shuttle looked nothing like human spacecraft. It was smooth and oval-shaped with no visible engines. It made almost no sound as it touched down on the landing pad. For a minute, nothing happened. Then a door slid open in the side of the shuttle and a ramp extended to the ground. The first alien to appear was Ambassador Zextil. His insect-like body was now covered in what looked like extra armor plating. He moved carefully, as if each step took great effort even in the reduced gravity. Behind him came 4 more aliens, each completely different from the others. One floated in what looked like a clear bubble. Another had tentacles instead of legs, and dragged itself forward. The third was short and stocky with skin that looked like rock. The fourth walked on 2 legs but had 4 arms and scaly skin. President William Clark stepped forward. He was a tall man with gray hair who had been chosen to speak for all of Earth. "Welcome to Earth," he said. "We are honored by your visit and look forward to learning about the Galactic Confederation." Zextil's translator device made a humming sound before he spoke. "We thank you for your welcome and for the accommodations you have prepared. May I introduce the delegation?" The president nodded. "Besides myself representing the Viridians, we have Ambassador Loth of the Mithari," Zextil said, pointing to the being in the bubble. "Ambassador Kren of the Krell." This was the tentacled one. "Ambassador Dorn of the Tarn," the rocky one, and Captain Kreldak of the Valorans, the 4-armed being. Kreldak stepped forward. "My species evolved on what you would call a Class 3 Deathworld. Not as extreme as Earth, but challenging. I believe I can manage in your full Earth conditions with only minor protection." Samantha noticed Gary tensing beside her. The captain clearly didn't like Kreldak's confident tone. "That's impressive," Samantha said quickly. "But we should proceed carefully. Even with your adaptations, our environment could be dangerous to you. The delegation will stay in the controlled environment for now," President Clark said. "We've prepared presentations about Earth and its history. After you've rested, we can begin cultural exchange." The aliens were led to the environmental chamber, which had been set up like a conference room. As they walked, Samantha noticed how differently each alien moved. The Mithari's bubble floated just above the ground. The Krell's tentacles left a slight wet trail. The Tarn made heavy thumping sounds with each step. Even in the reduced gravity, they all seemed to struggle. Once inside the chamber, the aliens visibly relaxed. Zextil removed some of his extra plating. Loth's bubble became less rigid. Kren's tentacles moved more freely. "Even with your accommodations, your world's pull is strong," Zextil said. "How do you bear it every day?" Samantha smiled. "It's just normal to us. We don't even think about it." Over the next few hours, Earth scientists presented information about the planet. They showed maps of the different continents, pictures of various ecosystems, and data about weather patterns. With each new slide, the aliens seemed more surprised. "You have regions covered in frozen water?" Kren asked when they showed pictures of Antarctica. "Yes, our polar regions stay frozen most of the year," Paul explained. "And others that have almost no water at all?" This came from Dorn, looking at images of the Sahara Desert. "Our deserts, yes. And your people can live in both places?" Loth's voice through the translator sounded amazed. "With the right equipment and preparation, yes," Samantha said. "Humans have settled in almost every region of Earth." Captain Kreldak had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "What about natural disasters? Storms? Earthquakes?" Gary answered this. "Time. We have hurricanes that can flatten cities, earthquakes that can level buildings, volcanoes that can cover whole regions in ash. We've learned to predict some of them, but they still happen." The aliens looked at each other. "And you continue to live in these areas, even after destruction?" Zextil asked. "We rebuild," Gary said simply. "It's what humans do." Later, after the presentations ended, Samantha showed the aliens to their living quarters. Each room had been specially prepared for the different species' needs. As she walked back to her office, Gary fell into step beside her. "Did you see their reactions?" he asked. "They're scared of us." "Not scared," Samantha corrected. "Surprised. We're different from what they expected." "Different enough that they sent a military captain as part of their first delegation," Gary pointed out, nodding toward Kreldak's door. "That Valoran isn't here just for cultural exchange." "What do you think he wants?" "To figure out if we're a threat," Gary said. "And I think he's realizing we might be." Samantha sighed. We need this to go well. Humanity has dreamed of meeting aliens for centuries. I don't want us to scare them away just because our planet is a bit harsh. A bit harsh? Gary laughed. Did you see them struggling to walk even in reduced gravity? Earth isn't just harsh to them. It's a nightmare. And we call it home. As they talked, neither noticed Kreldak standing in the doorway of his room, watching. Then with all four of his arms crossed over his chest and a thoughtful expression on his face. What humans considered normal was beyond anything the Valoran had experienced, even on his own challenging world. If these humans could thrive in such conditions, what else were they capable of? He needed to report to his superiors immediately. The humans had no idea that their status as Deathworlders would change everything about their place in the galaxy. The real test was just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since the alien delegation arrived on Earth. What began as careful, controlled introductions had turned into growing shock among the visitors. In the reinforced observation room, the 5 alien representatives watched video, screens showing different parts of Earth. Their reactions ranged from disbelief to horror. These humans swim in large bodies of water for fun, Ambassador Zextel said, his insect-like mandibles clicking rapidly as he watched footage of a beach in Hawaii. The same water that covers most of their planet and regularly kills them in storms. Not just swim, added Ambassador Loth from inside his protective bubble. His gaseous form swirled in agitation. They ride on top of moving water waves using small boards, deliberately seeking danger. Ambassador Kren's tentacles curled tightly. The water alone would dissolve my protective coating in minutes. On another screen, a video showed mountain climbers scaling a steep cliff. They climb rock formations with minimal safety equipment, noted Dorn, the rocky tarn. Even my species, with our silicon-based bodies, avoid such activities due to fall risks. Captain Kreldak, who had boasted about his species' toughness, watched silently. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest and his scaled skin had taken on a paler color than when he first arrived. The screens changed again, now showing clips of humans in various extreme environments. Desert marathons, Arctic expeditions, deep-sea diving and skydiving. I don't understand, Kreldak finally said. My homeworld, Valora Prime, has 1.3 times standard gravity and temperatures that range from freezing to very hot. We thought this made us exceptional among Confederation species. He pointed at the screens. But humans do these things for entertainment. They seek out danger when they don't need to. Samantha Wells entered the room with Dr. Kevin Phillips, Earth's expert on comparing different species biology. How are you finding our video library? Samantha asked, smiling. The aliens turned to look at her. Disturbing, Zextil answered honestly. Your species regularly does things that would kill most intelligent life in the galaxy. Kevin nodded. We've been reviewing the biological data you shared. It seems humans evolved with several advantages we never realized were unusual. Such as? Asked Loth. Our endurance, for one, Kevin explained. Most Earth animals can outrun humans in a sprint. But over long distances, we can keep going when other creatures collapse from heat exhaustion. We're persistence hunters by evolution. That explains some things, Kreldak muttered. Also our ability to eat almost anything, Samantha added. We've evolved to handle a wide range of foods, including many things that would be poison to other species. At that moment, Paul entered the room carrying a tray with cups. I brought refreshments, he said. Coffee for the humans and the special nutrient solutions for our guests. The aliens carefully took their cups. Zextel watched as Samantha sipped her coffee. That black liquid, he said. I analyzed it earlier. It contains chemicals that would be toxic to most Confederation species. Caffeine? Samantha laughed. Yes, it's technically a toxin. Plants produce it to kill insects, but for humans it's just a mild stimulant. We drink it to feel more awake. You drink poison to feel awake, Dorn said slowly, the rock-like plates on his face shifting in what might have been shock. Yes, and some humans actually prefer their coffee with special spices, said Paul. Nutmeg, cinnamon, capsaicin. Capsaicin? Kreldak interrupted. The defense chemical in some of your plants that causes burning pain? Some humans like the sensation, Kevin explained. We call it spicy. The aliens stared at them in silence. Later that day, the delegation was taken to a special viewing area where they could safely observe an outdoor sporting event. It was a simple local football game, but to the aliens it looked like warfare. They deliberately crashed their bodies into each other, Zextil observed. And this is entertainment? One of our most popular sports, Gary confirmed. He had joined the group and seemed to enjoy the aliens' reactions. Those hits can create forces strong enough to cause concussions, even with the protective gear they wear. What is a concussion? Asked Kren. Brain damage from impact, Kevin explained, usually mild and temporary. They risk brain damage for a game. Loth's gaseous form darkened within his bubble. Humans are tough, Gary said with a shrug. We heal. That evening, the aliens gathered in their private meeting room. They had asked for time alone to discuss their observations. Unknown to them, Earth security monitored their conversation with Samantha, Gary, and Kevin listening from another room. We must revise Earth's classification, Zextil said to the others. It is not merely a death world. It appears to be a class, 5 extreme death world, the highest classification in our system. Agreed, said Dorn. No species has ever achieved spaceflight from such an environment. The Confederation records have no precedent for this. The physical capabilities these humans take for granted would make them exceptional warriors, Kreldak noted. My own. People are considered elite troops in Confederation forces, and yet I must wear an exoskeleton just to walk in their gravity. More concerning is their mindset, Loth added. They seek out danger. They consume toxins for pleasure. They deliberately practice activities that risk injury or death. What do we tell the Confederation Council? Asked Kren. They expected a report on a newly discovered spacefaring species, not whatever humans are. We tell them the truth, Zextil said. Earth humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They evolved on a world that should have killed them 1,000 times over. Instead, it made them stronger. In the monitoring room, Gary turned to Samantha and Kevin with a concerned expression. I don't like how they're talking about us, he said. Like we're some kind of dangerous animals. They're scared, Samantha replied. Everything they thought. They knew about life in the galaxy is being challenged. What happens when scared people meet something they don't understand? Gary asked. Usually nothing good. Kevin frowned. We need to be careful. The way they talk about humans as potential warriors, they might see us as a threat rather than potential allies. The next morning, Samantha found Zextil alone in the observation room, watching videos of Earth's natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. Your planet routinely tries to kill you, Zextil said without turning around. Yet, you rebuild in the same locations again and again. We're stubborn that way, Samantha said. We adapt. The Confederation has existed for 10,000 years, Zextil said. In all that time, we classified worlds like yours as uninhabitable. We thought we understood what made a planet too dangerous for intelligent life. He turned to face her. We were wrong. Is that a problem? Samantha asked. It might be, Zextil replied. Some in the Confederation will see humans as dangerous simply because of where you evolved. Others will see potential allies, unlike any we've had before. And what do you see? Samantha asked. Before Zextil could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Gary's voice came over the speaker system. All personnel to emergency stations. We have received an urgent transmission from Confederation space. Dr. Wells and the alien delegation report to the main conference room immediately. As they hurried down the hallway, Samantha noticed a new look in Zextil's compound eyes. It wasn't fear anymore. It was something that looked strangely like hope. Whatever was happening, Earth's status as an extreme death world was about to take on new meaning for both humanity and the Galactic Confederation. Everyone gathered quickly in the main conference room. President Clark was already there, along with military leaders and government officials. Their faces were serious. On the large screen at the front of the room was the image of a strange alien. It looked somewhat like Zextil but larger, with darker armor plating and more aggressive features. "This is High Admiral Jorex of the Confederation Defense Force," Ambassador Zextil explained to the humans. "Something serious must have happened for him to contact us directly." The alien on the screen began to speak. The translation system converted his words to English. "Ambassador Zextil, the situation has changed dramatically since your delegation left. A hostile species known as the Ravagers has broken through our outer defense line. They have already destroyed 3 colony worlds and are moving deeper into Confederation space." The room was silent. Samantha looked at the alien delegation. All of them, even Captain Kreldak, seemed shocked by this news. "Our forces are struggling to slow their advance," Admiral Jorex continued. "The Ravagers evolved on a high-gravity world with toxic atmosphere. They can withstand conditions that kill our soldiers. Our weapons seem ineffective against them." President Clark stepped forward. "Admiral, I am William Clark, leader of Earth. If your people are in danger, perhaps we can help." The Admiral's eyes shifted to look at the human. "You are the Earth leader? The Deathworld species?" "Yes," President Clark said simply. "This is unexpected," the Admiral said, "but potentially useful. The Ravagers come from what we classify as a Class 4 Deathworld. Their natural armor and strength make them formidable opponents for normal Confederation species." Gary and Samantha exchanged looks. Normal Confederation species. The words made it clear how the aliens viewed themselves compared to humans. "But you believe we might be able to help because we come from an even more extreme world?" Admiral Nancy Foster asked. She had been quiet until now, observing everything carefully. "Precisely," Admiral Jorex confirmed. "Your species can endure conditions that would kill our soldiers. Your gravity is higher than even the Ravager homeworld. You might be able to fight them on more equal terms." President Clark turned to his advisors. They spoke quietly for a few minutes before he turned back to the screen. "We are willing to help," he said. "But we need more information. What exactly are these Ravagers? Why are they attacking your worlds?" Zextil stepped forward. "The Ravagers are an intelligent predator species. They evolved on a harsh world similar to Earth but took a different path. While humans developed tools and cooperation to survive, Ravagers developed natural weapons and extreme aggression. They see other species as either threats or food," added Kreldak. "They have some technology but rely mostly on their natural abilities. They're not interested in trade or diplomacy." "How did they get into space?" Kevin asked. "They attacked a Confederation research vessel that landed on their world," Admiral Jorex explained. "They captured the ship, learned to control it, and began raiding nearby systems. Over time, they stole more advanced ships and weapons." "So they're space pirates," Gary said, "attacking weaker targets and taking their technology." "A simplification but essentially correct," Zextil agreed. "They've never encountered significant resistance before because most Confederation species cannot physically withstand fighting them directly." President Clark nodded slowly. "Admiral Foster, what do you think?" Nancy stood straighter. "Mr. President, I recommend we deploy the 3rd Fleet to assist. Our ships have stronger hulls due to Earth's higher gravity requirements. Our weapons are designed to work in harsher conditions than Confederation standard. Most importantly, our soldiers can operate in environments that would cripple Confederation troops. This could be humanity's chance to prove our worth to the galactic community," added one of the government officials. "It could also be walking into a war we know little about," cautioned another. The president considered all this. "Admiral Jorex, if we agree to help, what specifically would you need from us?" "Your ships to join our defensive line, and perhaps ground troops to help evacuate civilians from worlds in the Ravagers' path. The Ravagers have never faced a species from a more extreme environment than their own. You may be our best hope." After more discussion, President Clark made his decision. "We will help defend your people. Admiral Foster will coordinate with your forces. We can have ships ready to depart within 48 hours." The meeting continued for another hour as they worked out details. When it finally ended, most people left quickly to begin preparations. Samantha stayed behind with Gary, Kevin, and the alien delegation. "You knew this might happen," Gary said to Zextiel. "That's why you were so interested in our physical capabilities." "We did not know about the Ravager attack," Zextiel insisted. "But yes, we were assessing whether humans might someday be valuable allies due to your unique evolution. Or dangerous enemies," Gary added. Zextiel's mandibles clicked. That concern existed as well. Samantha looked at all the aliens. "So what now? Does this mean Earth joins your confederation?" "That would be unprecedented," said Loth, his gaseous form swirling inside his bubble. "No Deathworld species has ever been offered membership." "Times change," said Kreldak. He seemed different now, more respectful when he looked at the humans. "My people were once considered too aggressive and dangerous for the Confederation. Now we serve as elite troops. Perhaps Earth will find a similar place." As they talked, Admiral Foster returned to the room. "Ambassador Zextiel, I've been in contact with your military commanders. They're sending data on Ravager ships and tactics. We're already planning joint strategies." "That was fast," Kevin remarked. "When lives are at stake, humans work quickly," Nancy said. She turned to Kreldak. "Captain, I understand you have combat experience against Ravagers. Would you be willing to advise our tactical teams?" Kreldak straightened his forearms in what seemed like a salute. "It would be an honor, Admiral." Later that evening, Samantha found Zextiel watching Earth news broadcasts about the upcoming mission. Human reporters were excitedly discussing humanity's first interstellar military operation and Earth's debut on the galactic stage. "Your people seem eager for this conflict," Zextiel observed. "Not eager for conflict," Samantha corrected. "Eager to help, to prove ourselves." "You have nothing to prove," Zextiel said. "We came here thinking we understood Deathworlds and the species they produce. We were wrong." "What did you expect to find?" Samantha asked. "Honestly, strong but simple beings, survivors focused only on immediate needs. Instead, we found a species that not only survived one of the harshest worlds we've discovered, but built art, music, literature, and science despite those challenges." Zextiel's compound eyes seemed to study her face. "It changes everything we thought we knew about intelligence and evolution." Outside the window, they could see ships taking off, Earth preparing for war among the stars. Not because they sought conflict, but because someone needed help. "The Confederation has never had allies like humans before," Zextiel said quietly. "The Ravagers have never faced enemies like you." "Let's hope that makes all the difference," Samantha replied, watching the ships rise into the night sky. The combined Earth and Confederation fleet gathered near the Cygnus colony. This small world on the edge of Confederation space was directly in the path of the advancing Ravager ships. Over 30 Confederation vessels formed a defensive line, their sleek designs gleaming in the light of the nearby star. Among them were 5 Earth ships, their bulkier, more rugged forms standing out clearly. On the bridge of the Endeavor, now the command ship of the Earth forces, Admiral Nancy Foster studied the tactical displays. Commander Alan Reeves stood beside her, back from his first contact mission, and now serving as her second in command. "The Ravager fleet will arrive in less than 6 hours," Alan reported. 15 ships, all stolen or copied from Confederation designs. Nancy nodded. "How are our people holding up?" "Better than the Confederation crews," Alan said. "Their ships keep their internal gravity at about half of Earth normal. Our people find it comfortable, but they keep their oxygen levels lower too, so our crews are using breathing aids when meeting with them." The communications officer called out, "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Confederation command ship." The main screen lit up, showing Admiral Jorex. "Admiral Foster, our sensors show the Ravager fleet has accelerated. They will arrive in 4 hours, not 6. "Understood," Nancy replied calmly. "Are the evacuation teams in position on the colony?" "Yes. Your Captain Monroe is coordinating with our forces, but they are facing difficulties. The colony's environmental systems are failing due to Ravager cyber attacks. The atmosphere is becoming toxic to our people." "Not to humans," Nancy said. Tell your teams to fall back to their ships. Our Marines can complete the evacuation. But the air will soon have high levels of carbon dioxide and nitrogen oxides, Jorex protested. Without protective gear, our people can handle short exposure, Nancy cut in. It's unpleasant but not immediately deadly to humans. We've trained for this. After the transmission ended, Alan shook his head. They still don't really understand us, do they? They're learning, Nancy said with a small smile. Down on the colony surface, Captain Gary Monroe received the new orders. His team of 30 Marines was helping evacuate the last civilians from the main settlement. Confederation forces are pulling back, he told his squad leaders. Environmental systems are failing, air quality dropping to what they consider deadly levels. And for us? Asked Sergeant Luis Diaz. Like breathing bad city air on a hot day, Gary replied. Unpleasant but manageable for a few hours. We finished the job alone. As the alien soldiers retreated to their ships, many looked at the humans with new respect. The Earth Marines continued working without their helmets, breathing air that would kill the Confederation species within minutes. One young colonist, a small Viridian child who reminded Gary of Ambassador Zextil, looked up at him. You can breathe the bad air? The translator rendered its clicks and chirps. We come from a tough world, Gary said kindly. Now let's get you to safety. Back in space, the Ravager fleet appeared. Their ships moved aggressively, not maintaining. The careful formation of the defenders, they're hailing us, the communications officer reported. Put them through, Nancy ordered. The face that appeared on screen was nightmarish to human eyes. It resembled a cross between an insect and a reptile, with multiple eyes and sharp chitinous plates around its mouth. I am Warlord Krask of the Ravager Dominion, the creature said through the translation system. Surrender your ships and submit to our rule, or be destroyed. Nancy stood tall. I am Admiral Nancy Foster of Earth. We will not surrender. We suggest you withdraw from Confederation space immediately. The Ravager seemed puzzled, its head tilted. Earth? Your species is not in our database. What classification world do you come from? Class 5 Extreme Death World, Nancy replied calmly. For the first time, uncertainty showed in the Ravager's posture. Impossible. No species survives such conditions to reach space. Yet here we stand, Nancy said. The Ravager cut the transmission. Moments later, their ships began to move forward. They're attacking, Alan announced. All ships battle positions. The space battle that followed shocked the Confederation observers. The Ravager ships fired weapons designed to disrupt the life support systems that most species depended on. When those failed against the Earth vessels, they tried high-gravity attacks, compressing space around the human ships. But the Endeavor and its sister ships had been built to withstand Earth's gravity and more. They're not used to enemies who can survive their environmental weapons, Alan observed as the Endeavor executed a tight turn that would have crushed most alien crews. They don't know how to fight us. The Earth ships pushed forward aggressively, while the Confederation vessels provided support fire from safer distances. The Ravagers, faced with unexpected resistance, began to show less coordination. On the colony surface, the evacuation was nearly complete when Ravager landing craft broke through. Gary and his Marines found themselves facing the enemy directly, for the first time. The Ravagers were large, at least 7 feet tall, with natural armor and multiple limbs ending in claws. They moved with surprising speed despite the colony's gravity, which was higher than Confederation standard but still lower than Earth. Form a defensive line, Gary ordered. Protect the civilians. The Ravagers charged, clearly expecting the defenders to fall quickly like other species they had faced. Instead, they met humans, evolved on a world that made them stronger, faster, and more resilient than the Ravagers had ever encountered. The turning point came when the Ravagers deployed gas weapons, filling the area with toxins that would kill most species. They advanced confidently, expecting to find dying enemies. Instead, they found Gary's Marines still standing, breathing air that would be toxic to most life forms, but merely unpleasant to humans from Earth. Now! Gary shouted. His team counterattacked, moving with speed and strength that shocked the Ravagers. In space, the battle reached its climax, when the Endeavour pushed through the Ravager line and targeted their command ship directly. After a brief but intense exchange of fire, the Ravager vessel began to retreat. "They're breaking formation," Allen reported. "All Ravager ships are falling back." A transmission came through from the Ravager commander. Warlord Krask looked different now, less confident, more cautious. "What manner of species are you?" he demanded. "We told you," Nancy replied. "We're humans from Earth." "Your world must be similar to ours," Krask said. "Yet, you fight differently." "Not similar," Nancy corrected. "Worse, much worse. Where you evolved natural weapons, we had to invent ours. Where you relied on biological armor, we developed strategy. Our world tried to kill us every day in 1,000 different ways, and instead of just surviving, we thrived." The Ravager stared at her for a long moment. Then the transmission cut off. The entire Ravager fleet jumped away, retreating from Confederation space. In the days that followed, the colony was secured. The Earth and Confederation forces celebrated their victory together. In the main hall of the colony administration building, Admiral Jorex presented Admiral Foster with a formal citation. "For 10,000 years, the Confederation has existed," he said to the gathered crowd. "In all that time, we classified worlds like yours as uninhabitable, believing no advanced civilization could arise from such harsh conditions." He looked at the human delegation, his eyes showing new respect. "We thought we understood Deathworlds until we faced Earth. Today, we are humbled and grateful." As the Endeavour prepared to return home, Ambassador Zextil came to say goodbye to Samantha, Gary, and the others who had hosted the first contact team. "Your planet will be invited to join the Confederation," he told them, "the first Deathworld species to receive full membership." "And the Ravagers?" Samantha asked. "They have withdrawn completely from our space," Zextil said. "I believe they fear you. In all their history, they never met a species more physically capable than themselves." Gary laughed. "We're not really that special. We're just humans." "That," said Zextil, "is special enough." As the Earthship set course for home, Admiral Foster stood on the bridge of the Endeavour watching the stars. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not despite their brutal homeworld, but because of it. They weren't just survivors of an extreme death world. They were its children, forged in its crucible, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring next. The stars looked different now. Not distant points of light, but future homes and allies. And if there were more threats out there in the darkness, well, Earth had been preparing its children for them all along.